Extra, extra, read all about it. Welcome to the Empire's Recap, and today we will be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers. This week, there's no time for intros, there's work to be done. Pixel Riffs heads right back into the end with Ijevin this time, after a quick trip to find some dodos.
Abracadabra, lore. There we go.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
And lore, there it is.
Making this farm requires spawning a new end gateway, which means fighting the Ender Dragon, from Dodoback this time. With the help of community tools and destroying the intended spawn location, they force the gateway to appear in the middle of nothing, perfect for making an Enderman farm. This will help Pix achieve his goal of getting godlike with Ender Pearls, though first he and Jevin have to actually get an Endermite to spawn, which takes unusually long. Finally, the farm is up and running, complete with an overflow flush so that the server isn't overwhelmed by Endermen. In the overworld, Pix decides to face the overwhelming amount of cats that Joe Hills has been breeding by giving the man something else to do with his time.
Why, Joe? Why all the cats?
The museum needs a security guard to keep anything else from getting swiped, and a man with his love of poetry and history seems perfect for the job. And maybe those cats can be useful, or at least moved off of the bridge. That handled, Pix pops back into the end to improve the new Enderman farm just a bit. He adds a Pearl Voider to clean out the inventory, and a minecart system to make passage to and from the farm as quick and hopefully unglitchy as possible. Not content with one massive project this week, we find Pix placing an infinite amount of buttons in the process of making a wither skeleton farm. I'm starting to think this man's definition of relaxing is more work somewhere else. That, or the wine and cheese parties that apparently happen in the Froglight Orchard, as he tells a visiting Rendog, who has a very enticing offer for him. Pieces of history, the firsts of Rendog himself, a collection that Pix is eager to get his hands on. He gains a single piece in return for a dodo that Rendog swiftly falls in love with.
Her name is Deirdre!
There you go. Alright, she has a name now, and she's all yours.
After sacrificing snow golems to a bound wither in the end for wither roses, Pixelriffs makes the first spawning platform for the skeleton farm, and it's so effective that he swiftly runs out of food. His trip back to the overworld is far from uneventful, however. Joe Hills, in his duty as museum security guard, noticed some odd patches of skulk popping up around the buildings, and then found out that Cubfan had placed more than a few skulk catalysts in the area.
Anyway, I found the first 2 skulk catalysts and I put them in the evidence locker here. And then I found another 90.
Even with all the identified and removed catalysts, there's still more in the area. A single mob burning in the sun could set off a chain reaction. Pix thanks Joe for his thorough and continued service, and returns to the Wither Skeleton Farm to distract himself from the infection riddling the ancient capital, because if he can't stop it, he can at least stop thinking about it. Zuma pops in yet again, happy to help move piglins in exchange for some of the wither skulls. They get just enough that even a few losses moving them into the farm are acceptable, and though only one layer is finished, the farm is shaping up to be quite strong. And dangerous. Wither skulls in the wrong hands could spell a lot of trouble, and there's a lot of wrong hands on the server right now. Those wrong hands include whoever replaced all of Joel's torches and lanterns with blue soul equivalents and left all of the replaced lighting in a chest with no explanation. Well, there was a sign, something about souls and skulk, but Joel is no less confused. He plans to build a temple for Hermes in Upper Stratos, but first he needs to gather some materials. His expedition into the Nether goes awry when he accidentally places his bed instead of an ender chest, and explodes himself along with all of his stuff. After putting together a set of backup gear, he finishes gathering all the items he needs for the build, and heads off to the ancient city to obtain another Swift Sneak book. He lucks out, finding one in the first chest he searches. Joel then builds Hermes' temple, complete with a golden throne for his boy. Hermes also has a new outfit, and Joel brings him over to Sanctuary to show off his dapper new fit. Flip also comes to visit, asking for Joel's protection from the sheriff and his hot guy. Joel, eager for any chance to fight and kill the sheriff, agrees, and even pays Flip to set up an opportunity to do so.
I'll call on you when I need you.
All right, cool.
Thank you, Joel.
Just blow any horn at any time.
You got it. Okay.
Finally, he moves part of the wall surrounding Laura City outwards in preparation for building a temple to himself. But for now, the sheriff best be wary of goat horns sounding.
This week begins with a new dilemma for Jimmy. His strongest alliance and friend, Scar, has tagged Jimmy for the Hermit's game of tag. As funny as the tag head looks on the tiny sheriff, Jimmy wants to immediately get rid of the large responsibility. After all, he does have many other responsibilities in order to uphold the law back in Town. Pearl finds herself at the sheriff's target after the tag machine tells Jimmy he must use fall damage. The plan is simple: somehow convince Pearl to climb to the tallest part of Hermitopia, retrieve her wings, and push her off the edge.
Oh, hello! Oh, gosh. Wait, that was the most British reaction I've ever had.
Easy. Kind of. The challenge proves successful when Pearl is a bit too trusting of the sheriff's law and hands over her wings to be inspected. With his plan being a success, he hands over the tag hat to Pearl. It was too big for a tiny toy anyway. However, another hurdle presents itself soon after when Grian and Joel decide to spawn a wither right next to Temple Town. His worry ends up being for nothing, because the wither remains in the wasteland, and only hits parts of Temple Town, which is also known as Joel's kingdom, seeing as he spilled most of what was damaged. Jimmy retrieves the star from the two outlaws, but ends up in a high-speed chase, forcing him to trade his prize for the wither skull and a bunch of random trash the others didn't want. Jimmy vows to get back at the god for his shenanigans, to which he soon follows through. The sheriff happens upon something named an invisibility switch that reveals the secrets of Stratos. Turns out, the kingdom of Stratos is not floating, but held up by stilts.
Oh! His base is being held up by stilts! It ain't flying! It ain't hovering! He ain't a god! He's a liar! I thought you were a god and you had, like, lore and stuff. Your base isn't even hovering. Bit cringe. There it is. There it is. I got him. I got him!
Later, Jimmy meets up with Scar, who is wearing Scott's hat that Scar had to trade the spare sheriff's hat for. Scar swears he'll get the sheriff hat back. Eventually. This does not stop the two from showering each other in gifts. Jimmy bestows Scar with his deputy badge and multiverse jelly in return for a villager trading center, and stacks of iron for a Tumbletown beacon. Finally, Jimmy heads back over to Hermitopia to try and sneak his way in, only to find the hermits have added a face to the build. A face that is unrecognizable to Jimmy.
The economy is thriving in Sanctuary. There are a whole new array of villagers ready to trade their goods, but a special guest arrives. Corrales laughs at everything beat-ups, including the cute dodo named B-Double Dodo. He makes plans for a more effective wood farm under Sausage's current one. Sausage needs disguise to infiltrate the Hermit Empire. He devises a clever outfit of sunglasses and goes undercover with Ollie. They encounter Impulse and point him in the direction of Flip's course, while freaking out over the sleeping Grumbot. Meanwhile, back at home, Sausage has a vision, this time teleporting him to a dungeon that seems awfully familiar. And then, from the shadows, another him appears. And he is evil, but thankfully, he gets rescued by Bubbles. Safe back in Sanctuary, Sausage builds his casita. It's got everything from a meditation room for him to a new bedroom for Hermes. But actually, Sausage decides that's not good enough for his boy, so he builds him an entire house called Hermes Tower. It's fit for a prince. In another reality, something is brewing. Evil Sausage is planning something, and it is not good.
Something weird is at work in Chromia when all of the torches and lanterns are replaced by soul versions. I mean, come on, corruption is so last season.
Guys, come on, a corruption-like thing spreading over a server? Like, that's so last year.
Updates from the stream include the somewhat illegal acquisition of Jimmy's sheriff hat, and Scar's head to be placed in the tavern.
I got some important items. One item being Scar's head, the other item being a sheriff hat.
But, to decorate the tavern slightly more than just some heads, Scott takes Pearl's suggestion to add a sunflower field out front.
Just like that, we now have a little sunflower patch outside the tavern, which I think looks super cute.
We're going underground with this market, and Scott realizes that he should probably add some more entrances. Make everyone complicit, you know? The sheriff can't arrest them all.
Okay, here is the entry from the sanctuary side. And again, it's a one-way in, so I'm going to need to go round and go back up into Chromia. And I think I do the other one over here in Joel's area.
New entrances aren't the only new thing, as there appears to be some skulk catalysts lining the walls and a new stall set up selling deputy badges.
Okay, so deputy badge, I will take one, thank you very much.
New pirate Cleo surprises him with some questions about the market and makes some purchases of her own.
I don't have a diamond, but I can steal a diamond.
There we go.
That is a thing that I can...
I love it.
If I wear that around Jimmy, is he going to absolutely lose it?
He'll probably be very confused if you suddenly flash it. You can just be like, it was a totem, I don't know what you mean.
Cleo must have told Joey, though, as next time Scott visits, he gets the gun to his head and an interrogation about a missing trident.
Oh, so you just like to take things that don't belong to you and sell them to strange people?
I have no idea what you're on about, Joey. Also, isn't taking things that don't belong to you your entire thing?
Yeah, exactly, so leave it to me.
Apparently Scott can defeat Joey with the power of customer service and being unfazed by a gun. At least he got a profit out of it.
And somehow also scam Joey twice. Like, I'm actually very impressed with that. You know, maybe this life of, like, crime is actually made for me. Huh.
Joey says he's ready for anything, and immediately gets proven wrong by zombie Cleo showing up in her new non-pirate hat. She knows how observant her captain is, or isn't, and she's got a message for him. His magical trident has been stolen. He checks, and she's actually telling the truth. Outraged, Joe follows her to Hermitopia and to the secret black market inside of the Great Bridge, which is apparently where his trident was last spotted, as Scott of Chromia stole and sold it. He thanks Cleo for the lead, lying in wait until the thieving salesman himself appears. And appear he does, checking on his ill-gotten wares. Joey threatens Scott at gunpoint and bribes him with gunpowder, and the mixed messages do the trick. Scott sold the trident to Animalia's own Mayor Lizzie. He also invites Joey to make a stall of his own, smoothing over the ruffled feathers. A black market is practically a second home for a pirate. But first, he needs his trident back. Joey bursts into the Critter Council, holding all of them for ransom from a terrified mayor, for an amount of plunder so exorbitant, even Pirate Joe doesn't know exactly how much it is.
How much is a bajillion in pirate terms?
I think that's like probably like like 10 stacks or something.
Mayor Lizzie pays up, returning the trident and paying the pirate, who returns home to Eversea feeling rather pleased with himself. And look, someone left him a little gift. Does the pirate have a secret admirer?
Aw, that's so sweet.
If you're wondering how we got here, Shelby has finally emerged from her journey into the fog, with a recap of the first encounters with the hermits. Truly, the strange man, Tango he said, is lucky to have found the Evermore. She'd prefer not to have lost souls wandering around the mangrove any more than there already are. He's not the only strange occurrence, and after False's doppelganger shows up and the two are very happy to see each other, she finds out there was a group that came through the portal, but were apparently separated.
Hermitcraft, yes, and we were sent through a portal by Grian. Do you know Grian?
Grian. No.
No, you don't.
No,
okay.
We don't have one of those. Welcome to the mangrove. Oh, is that Grian?
That's the Grian.
That's the guy.
She equips them with an iron sword while setting out to Sanctuary, probably the most welcome place on the server. She's not the only one with that idea, and the three meet up with a much larger group of people, including all the people Whip and Joel found. Sausage turns up with Corrales and Jevon in tow, but he's a little late to stop the ransacking of his storage room. She takes off back to her swamp after hearing there are more visitors, and it's Scott and Catherine with their collection of new people. She directs them all to Sanctuary, and ends up on the border of the Eversea, where Joey's new pirates try and murder her. The truce is definitely off now.
Now, get her!
No! Wait! I thought we had a truce!
No.
Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Run!
No! So much for a truce with Joey. Sounds like we are no longer friends and not in a truce. And he wonders why Catherine didn't pick him.
Old habits die hard, and Shelby and Tango meet again while ransacking Whip's storage room. He's still wearing the hat she gave him, and ends up agreeing to have a few lessons on witchcraft. One must always go brewing in a popular area, got to make a good impression, so Shelby and Tango travel to the Evermore where she can teach him about potions. He listens intently, but disappears when she turns around. Maybe he drank something and turned into a frog?
Tango, are you? Did I? Well, I didn't even... Did you drink something? Tango? Did I make you a frog? I'm so sorry. It was an accident. I can fix this. I can make... Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait.
What's the matter?
Tango? Are you speaking? You can talk?
I'm right here. Hi.
Oh good, he's fine. It's fine. The two new pirates come skulking around. Apparently they're called Cleo and Azuma, and apparently they've been ordered to murder her, but actually want to recruit her in a scheme to kill Joey. She's in.
this goes against all of my morals. Yeah, no, I'll do it.
Joey is very mad after the murder and reveals he knows a secret of hers. Blackmail, of course. What else could he know? He couldn't know anything. Well, that letter for her grandmother. One of the new guys, Cub Fan, comes over with the request to use his massive axe and science brain to figure something out about the fog. He comes back not quite right. She decides to go have a look for herself, which may not be the smartest idea. She gets further and further into the forest and finds a massive frog. He must be so old. The vines are so overgrown. Maybe he got lost. She decides to help him out and tries her best to lead him back towards the Evermore again. They get there and the frog lets her put a saddle on him. He must like her enough, even though he's not talking to her. And with that, join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and thanks to everyone helping out with the project. Check them all out down below.